The Sort of Sports Podcast presents The Big Salad.
If it was a regular salad, I wouldn't have said anything. But you had to have that big salad!
On to episode 8, hosted by the one and only Quinn Maseko.
Thank you, George, Ryan, and Molly for extra clapping. Today we'll flow through Aaron Rodgers' recent comments, Ryan's rankings of the new WNBA jerseys for this summer season, play fortune teller, and close with happy time. But we begin today with the recent news out of the Kentucky Derby in Churchill Downs, where Medina Spirit, who won the Derby this past weekend, tested positive for a drug known as betamethasone, if that is pronounced correctly, as I'm not a pharmaceutical representative. This has been the fifth horse under trainer Bob Baffert that has tested positive for a doping drug within the last year of horse racing. So currently it's a review of possibly stripping Medina Spirit of its title for the Kentucky Derby this year. It would be the third horse to ever happen to, and it's a 147-year history at Churchill Downs. So, Ryan, do you think that's the appropriate action to take against Medina Spirit and to also indefinitely suspend trainer Bob Baffert?
I think that's really the right move. I mean, the Kentucky Derby is the be-all and end-all.
It's the epitome.
It's the epitome of horse racing in America. It's huge. I don't watch any horse racing, but everybody always is betting on. Everybody always wants to get the scoop on the Kentucky Derby. I always end up watching the Kentucky Derby somehow, and it's a big old deal, and it's really painful when something like this happens. It's a real mark, a bad stain left on the race, and I mean, 3 times. This is the third time ever. It doesn't happen often. It just really leaves a bad taste in your mouth for a very almost 150-year-old tradition. So.
Right.
It's definitely just terrible to happen, and it's really puts a whole bad taste in your mouth.
Right. Yeah, I think it's an integrity issue what it is, especially on trainer Bob Baffert, this is the fifth horse he's had this issue with. But I will say they're starting to crack down on this, and I looked up, I just Google searched to make sure to get the what the drug name was, and actually got on the story on the New York Times and talked about in one of the COVID relief bills that was passed last year. An amendment to that was the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act, so it's cracking down on doping up horses for races. So I think that's interesting. I think it's definitely it has to be a punishment that comes out here, whether it is the trainer claims he doesn't know who administered the drug or whatever, but if this is, obviously it's a repeated offense with the trainer because it's his fifth horse, so he definitely needs to be punished, and indefinite suspension is reasonable, so I think, I'll be interested to see how the story goes. It just came out this morning, or last night, I believe.
Yes, it was just this morning. I got the alert this morning eating breakfast, and I was like, oh, crap.
Yep.
So I think it's really just one of those. It also makes a mockery of all those journalists who over the last week wrote about what made Medina Spirit win, you know what I mean? Like all this stuff.
Right.
It really makes a mockery of the sport and the big race. It's not something you want to see.
Yes.
The big race. Yes.
But, I mean,
bad taste.
it is a bad taste, and we're heading into the Preakness next in Triple Crown, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of developments come before that. It's
kind of like when you watch highlights of Barry Bonds' home runs, where it's like,
right, or Sammy Sosa.
Oh, why'd you have to say that? I like Sammy Sosa.
Well, doesn't
the
mean
great Cubby. No, that's a good one.
There's nothing wrong with liking
No,
him.
you're right.
But
no,
they're cheaters.
Exactly, where it hurts. Or Mark McGwire.
Yes,
Mark McGwire
is a good one. Yeah,
he's another one where those three were like the big three, where you want to look back and remember all these great moments you had watching them, and like to memorialize their accomplishments in baseball. But then it's like stained by this. I mean, the all-time home run leader in baseball isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
For good reason.
Which is, yes.
But it also leaves a real
He's
stain.
been up for what? He's been up 3 times. He's been
Yeah.
voted on 3 times,
And
he
never,
didn't make it.
He's not going to make it.
You have to get 75% to get in.
And
he got 71
until
this
there's an
time.
entire shift of the guard,
Right.
he's not going to make it.
Really, if anybody should be in there before any of the steroid homers, it should be Pete
Rose. Yeah.
Because besides the fact of what he did as a manager, he should be inducted as what he did as a player. So
I agree.
that's been
And
a battle
that's
forever,
what
and he's never been reinstated.
And
so.
that's, yeah, I'm saying it's very similar to that, where it's like you want to have that moment of I don't know what the word would be, like acknowledging the accomplishment,
Right.
but it's being stained by this idea that you know it's not 100% earned.
Right.
So that really stinks at all sports, and it really sucks having something like the Derby, which is a big old deal.
Right, it is. But enough about the Derby, and it's on to the rumors swirling around Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers recently commented he wanted the general manager fired of the Green Bay Packers, and if he doesn't get that, he wants out. So, Ryan, what do you make of Aaron Rodgers' most recent comments?
Same thing I made last week. He's going to Denver. That division's going to be crazy fun. We'll have Herbert and Rodgers and Mahomes and the crap Raiders. It'll be 3 teams that are great.
The Raiders will be decent. They were 500 last year.
And it'll be less than 500 and they have to play all those teams twice.
Well, they have to be less than 500 because we know 500 this year with 17. It's an odd number.
I guess that's true. But even so, the Raiders will win maybe 6 games at most.
Worse than last year.
Yes.
Okay.
I stand by.
Beside the Raiders.
Back
to Rodgers.
Rodgers, I think he's gone. Apparently, it was reported he has been making jokes calling their general manager Jerry Krause in reference to what's really become very famous in The Last Dance last year, and that came out about Michael Jordan not liking the Chicago Bulls general manager, Jerry Krause. One of the big reasons he went and took a break from basketball is because of him and Jerry Krause not liking each other. And that is definitely the feeling. Brett Favre's made comments saying that he feels like Rodgers is feeling like he did and that Rodgers is going to be out. And if I'm a Packers fan, you just better hope that Jordan Love's really good at throwing the football because he potentially...
You hear that, AJ? AKA Young Fool. But
the big Packers fan himself. You better be hoping that he's a good pick because if he turns out to be crap, I think I said this last week, potentially the worst pick in Packers history. Not from a talent perspective, from the point where you got a decent quarterback and you got rid that drafting Jordan Love started driving out Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
That's the big thing.
That's the catalyst.
That's the catalyst. That was the straw that broke camel's back, and if he's not good, wow. Wow. That's franchise suicide.
Right, it is. What do you make about if you saw Terry Bradshaw's comment about this situation?
What'd Terry say?
Terry said that Aaron Rodgers needs to stop being a pretty boy and asking for a bunch of trades and demands and just play football.
Well, that's also because Terry Bradshaw played 30 years ago. More than 30 years.
More
than 30 years, like 50 years
40,
ago.
Yeah.
Pretty much. About 50.
Yeah.
So
Close, yeah. It's about 50, yeah.
Yeah. The sports world's an entirely different place now.
It is.
And I'm not saying Bradshaw's totally wrong, but the way that it's shifted in the last 10, 15 years is I don't want to be here anymore. It's power to the players. The NBA is the main driver of that.
The owners and the general managers, yes.
It's LeBron James, formed his own team, won his own championships by getting with his buddies. Like it or not, that was not formed by a general manager. That was formed by LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh meeting up.
Right.
Kevin Durant went to the Warriors because it's what Kevin Durant wanted to do. Mm-hmm. It's a very player-oriented league in the NBA.
Right.
And the NFL is becoming more and more that way all the time. The NFL just started getting that way in the last about 5 years. It started with the Steelers with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and not to the best results, but it's been going better with stuff like, Brady did really well. Well, I guess Brown did win a Super Bowl, so maybe you could say Brown did well, but his statistics and accomplishments have definitely gone down.
Yep.
Bell's are the same, but Brady is the pioneer now of I went and I made the big move and I wasn't a franchise player.
Right.
And Aaron Rodgers is potentially the next one in line. Mm-hmm. So Favre's a different situation where Favre was getting older. But I think Rodgers is actually very similar to Favre, where they drafted already your replacement.
Favre almost did it in
Yep.
2009, getting back to the Super Bowl. But
now we're going to talk about what I always like to talk about, the marketing. Biggest money Super Bowl next year would be Broncos-Packers. Jordan Love has a great season. Aaron Rodgers has a great season. It's in Los Angeles. Rodgers is from California. It's not going to happen.
You think
No. I think Rodgers is gone, and I think the Packers are going to be third in the NFC North.
Well, I think
I'm saying maybe second, just because I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sold on the Vikings yet. The Bears are going to win the division. I'm serious. That division's going to be crap. If Rodgers is gone, that division's bad.
If Rodgers is gone, it's going to be interesting.
Especially if they're not starting Fields. I'm interested to see how Fields does.
Starting Fields.
They better.
Over the Red Rider.
I'm not sold on Fields. We've already talked about this, but I still think they're going to be the best team in that division because the Lions aren't going to do much.
Like I said before, not sold on any Buckeye or
Until
Crimson Tide quarterback.
I'm sold on Mac right now. I like Mac Jones.
I know you are.
All right.
But what I think about this is that Aaron Rodgers, again, as we mentioned in the last episode and in a few episodes before, when toss-up, and I said he would be more likely to be on.
Did we kind of predict this? I feel like we kind of predicted this to a point because it was a week after we said that's when it all came out.
Right.
We made a comment, just he could be gone, and we're like, oh, probably not though, and then boom.
Yeah, he's gone. Weird. And I think what I see it is, and what Aaron Rodgers has said, is that it's not about the money, it's not about the ability to keep playing football. So it's what he wants to do best for him. And now that he's getting married, I could see him, even though he had a very good year statistically, I could see him hanging the cleats up if he got tapped for Jeopardy.
I think it's this.
I think he's getting tapped for Jeopardy.
It's this. I think it's if they won't move him to Denver or Vegas, which are apparently the two destinations he wants.
He really wants Denver because his fiance, Shailene
he doesn't want to go east. He wants to go west.
Yeah, she has a place in Colorado.
So if they won't deal him to Denver, which I think Denver is the spot, if they're not going to deal him to Denver, I think
Denver doesn't want to deal it.
Or Denver doesn't want to deal for him, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but I think he says, I'm done. Mm-hmm. And maybe he pulls a Marshawn Lynch and he comes back in a couple years, he retires and comes back. But I think he says, I'm done, and he hangs it up, and then he could eventually come back, or he's just done, period.
Right.
And he ends on an MVP season.
Right.
Where he lost to greatest player of all time in Tom Brady. That's quite an impressive resume.
But I think...
I'm not even a huge Brady guy, but I'm saying he's undoubtedly, 7 championships, Quinn.
I know that, but it's all a different era. It's a different era.
I know.
So, what I think... what I've heard, the rumors, is that they only want 2 firsts and a second for Aaron Rodgers, which is not awful because you're not blowing up. You're not blowing up your whole team. You're not blowing up your whole team if you're trading. So
That's low.
But that makes it reasonable for somebody like Denver.
If you're Denver, you can deal them.
You could do that, and you could probably throw in Drew Lock just for fun.
Yeah, you could probably throw in Drew Lock for kicks and giggles. And then if they want Surtain and you count him as a first-round pick, they might. I don't think they will.
No, I think they want draft capital.
I think they want draft capital. They want draft capital, so they can take whatever they want.
Capital,
they want that Spencer Rattler.
Now, if Jordan Love pans out.
I don't think Jordan Love.
You don't know that. You don't know.
He could be. Here's my thing of Jordan Love. I think he'd be really good, but he's not going to be as good as Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah, he's not Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know.
I'm
saying they got lucky. They got lucky that they got Aaron Rodgers after Brett Favre. They lucked out that they got another great guy.
And I would have to look at the tape of Jordan Love to see how good he is, because I don't remember him from 2 years ago when he drafted.
I was very interested in him. I did a lot of research.
You wanted him on the Panthers, didn't you?
No, I didn't want him on the Panthers. I was just curious with him because they were comparing. The comparisons were to Josh Allen, so I found that interesting. So he's big arm. He's the Trey Lance. He's the raw prospect.
Okay.
He's the Trey Lance or his Josh Allen. He's the Patrick Mahomes. He's the raw prospect. But those are very boom or bust. So I don't really think I trust Packers management to be able to get 3 straight Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Because that's insanely good luck. Because to be good, you got to be really good and have a bit of luck too. That's what Michael Jordan. I'm pretty sure Jordan's the one who said that. I'm not sure who said that. I don't remember who said that, but it was somebody successful in the NBA. I remember they said to be really good, you got to be really good with a bit of luck. And I don't think that amount of luck would be insane. I think Jordan Love might be pretty good, might be starting level. but I would be shocked if he's an MVP level player.
Right.
Shocked.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look at the Steelers. They
Especially
had a Hall of
when they
Famer
said-
in Bradshaw and have another one until
Yeah.
Roethlisberger. So I mean,
Especially when they said that he was disappointing in training camp. I remember that last year. So,
yeah, but
You know.
LaFleur just got his hands on him, so maybe with his offensive genius, he turns them around. I don't know.
I think he could be good. I just don't know. I don't think he's going to be as good as Rodgers, which is what you're hoping when you draft him.
Well, yeah.
Like, there's no point, if you don't think he's the next Rodgers, there's no point in wasting your first-round pick with a Rodgers that says he
Yeah.
wants to play for another 8 years.
Right, instead of drafting a receiver.
Instead of drafting a receiver when Justin Jefferson, I'm pretty sure, was on the board then.
Yeah, he was. No, because it was a first round.
Oh,
pick.
no, but
He
they
was
traded
drafted
up.
18.
They traded up.
No,
They
yeah,
they
only
traded up for
25,
Jordan Love.
though. Only
Yeah.
25. He was
They should
already
have
gone at
just
18.
they should have just traded up for Jefferson straight up.
Well, 2020's hindsight. So
Technically, 2020 is hindsight. It was last year. I'm just kidding.
that's a tongue in cheek.
Yeah, it was a ton of cheat.
Tongue in cheek there, friends. But
No, but you're right. I guess he was gone. But I'm saying they could have traded up and gotten Justin Jefferson.
there were plenty of other.
They could have taken Chase
They could have
Claypool.
taken Chase Claypool. They could have.
Oh man, I don't
Sad
know.
Steelers lucked out again
I
on
don't
receivers.
know. I think Terrence Marshall Jr. is the next great second round wide receiver.
Nice.
Telling you,
Well, we're
Panthers
gonna
got a
see.
good one. Panthers got a good one. Well, we're gonna have to be thinking about when the NFL season comes up, who's gonna be our big salad favorite team. Doesn't mean we're going to do the best. It's just the one we're most entertained by.
I already got one.
Who do you think?
I'll reveal it now. It's the Jags.
You think the Jaguars are going to be our
Jags.
pick? Okay, I think it's right now. We won't decide till the season starts because a lot can change. You know?
Okay.
Wouldn't you agree a lot can change?
Yes.
So I'm thinking Washington's a
in.
good candidate too, though.
Okay. How about we have one for both AFC and NFC, and then they each can be ours.
It can be a battle, and then at the end of the season, we say who our
Right.
favorite team overall was.
Right.
And maybe it wasn't even one of our picks.
Right.
Maybe it turns out it's some random team that came out of nowhere that we ended up liking.
Yeah, like the Raiders.
I was actually thinking the Raiders. It's really weird that you said that.
So,
But at the beginning of the season, we'll say each favorite from each, just to be entertainment
Yes.
perspective. And then
Yes.
when it ends up being the Giants, we're like, what the? I'm kidding. It's not going to be the Giants. I do not like what the Giants have going on from a quarterback
you don't
perspective.
know. You don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on because I
just
don't
know
really
one
watch
thing.
much Giant football.
Daniel Jones has to quit turning the ball over.
I think this is a make or break season, and that's not really a hot take. I think everybody knows that. So if
is.
they get a top 10 pick, he's out.
And who's coaching them?
It's not Jason Garrett. He's a defensive.
He's OC.
He's OC. I don't remember who their main coach is.
Yeah, he's familiarable though.
Yeah. They had a decent draft where they traded back, but I don't think they had the best.
Joe
picks.
Judge.
Yep.
Joe Judge. I didn't have to look him up. So,
All right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But, all right. Moving in to the third headline, and this was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago, just hadn't happened, be able to fit in the show yet. But before the WNBA season kicks off, Ryan, who loves jerseys,
Yep.
is going to present his rankings of the new WNBA jerseys for the 2021 season. Take it away, Ryan.
All right, so I did my top 5 favorites, ranked them 1 to 5, and then just quick little thing to like ones I don't really talk about. I like what the Liberty did. Don't talk about any of theirs. I think they look nice. Same thing with the Mercury, the Phoenix Mercury. They just kind of look pretty much like a Suns jersey. I do not like what Seattle did at all. Washington's pretty bland, but Seattle's just don't look good. The color scheme's really the only thing I like about it. Minnesota, it just looks like the Timberwolves. So there's really not a lot going on there. Vegas is just also kind of bland. Dallas Stars, don't really like what the color scheme is, and I think it just doesn't really excite me at all. So that's pretty much my coverage. Chicago does something nice, but not a lot going on that I like. So now let's talk about my top 5 favorite jerseys. So number 5, we have the Los Angeles Sparks. Their black and yellow jersey. This one's really sweet. I think it's called the Rebel Edition. What I really like about this one is it looks a lot like the Kobe Bryant jerseys that the Lakers wear, and it's just a really good look. We all know I don't like the Lakers, but they got some sweet stuff, especially when yellow is your favorite color. So that one's just sweet. Looks a lot. There's not a lot to say here. It just looks like you added space to the Kobe Bryant memorial jerseys. All right, number 4, we have another Los Angeles Sparks uniform, the purple one. I just like how this looks. It reminds me of like a beach with the purple, with the yellow, with the white outline, the palm tree logo. It just looks really nice. I like how they angled the letters. It just all pops. The one thing maybe is I'm not sure about the blue Nike logo. I think it's a little close to the white, but it also kind of makes it pop. So I just really like everything about that. That's called the Explorer Edition for the Sparks. Now we're moving away from the Sparks. Number 3, my third favorite jersey. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Dream here. I really like this neon-looking jersey they have. The black with the bright blue with the pinkish and reddish tones really makes it just look like electric. And I like that electric look. It stands out, especially from their regular white and red jerseys are really not that cool. But this jersey, this alternate, the Rebel Edition, it's sweet. Really like what they're going on there. Number 2, I think this is actually just a much better version of what the Phoenix Suns got going on. The Phoenix Suns got a pretty good color scheme, but the Connecticut Sun, they straight out the purple for a blue, and this orange jersey, it just looks great. I like the pattern right there around the neck with the arms. It looks great. It's paying homage to the Mohegan Tribe's heritage in Connecticut. I think it looks great. So that one really pops. I almost put that number 1, but number 1, I just think it's super creative, and somebody should get a raise, is that Indiana Fever Stranger Things jersey. That's incredibly creative and really in culture right now. It looks really cool. I'm not sure how cool it'll look on the court, but I guarantee they saw a lot of t-shirts and jerseys of that because you're appealing to a lot of fans of one of the most popular TV shows of the last 5 years. So I think that was just a really good call, and it looks sweet.
Right.
Quinn?
And the series was set in
Hawkins, Indiana.
So that makes sense. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
I just wondered if you had anything to say. Any thoughts?
I really do like the Connecticut Sun. I like the.
It looks real nice.
I really like the trim, and obviously that's with some indigenous patterns there from the Mohegan.
They have
tribe.
a nice blue one too that also has like cool trim that also pays homage to the same tribe, Mohegan tribe. Yeah.
Yes. So I do like those. Plus, orange is my favorite color, so I have to throw that in for the Connecticut Sun. But isn't it kind of isn't it an oxymoron that they're the Connecticut Sun, yet they're cold and they don't have much sun?
Yeah, I thought that was odd too, but I don't know. I really wish they had the Cleveland Rockers. I thought that was a fun WNBA team name, the Rockers, because Cleveland Rock.
Yeah, but they're gone, right?
Yeah, they're gone. They've been gone for a while.
Yeah, they were when? How long did they exist? 10 years?
I think maybe less than that. Early WNBA, a lot of teams come in and come out.
Yeah, because you get financial standing behind them.
Yeah, now they finally are. I mean, these are the first jerseys that don't have advertisements on the middle.
Yeah.
Actual team names. I agree. So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. All right. I'm sorry about that. It's we're recording on a Sunday. Let's just say it's
Sundays are slow.
Yeah, Sundays are slow, and I'm winding down, so I apologize for that, Jan. But today we're playing a new game, Fortune Teller, baby. And you got to act like a fortune teller here and predict these next 3 questions and see what's going to happen with them. So, hark! I hear the first caller with their fortune. In the NBA, will the Los Angeles Lakers evade the play-in tournament? Well, let's set the scene here, all right?
Yeah, you set the scene.
This last week, Lakers were in the 6th seed. They dropped the 7th seed recently.
Yep.
Now Portland is ahead by a game and a half. Portland's 39-29.
They beat them in overtime. Portland beat them in overtime.
Correct. Now they hold the tiebreaker, and the Lakers are 37-30. So what gives the Lakers some hope here? 4 games left in the regular season for the Trailblazers. They play the Rockets, which should be an easy game. But then they have 3 tough games back to back to back. Jazz, Suns, and Nuggets. So that gives them a tough schedule. Now, if we go over to the Lakers, they have a much easier schedule in their last 5. They obviously have the Suns and the Knicks, but then they have the Rockets, Pacers, Pelicans. So they have a more chance to win. What do you think, Ryan? What's your prediction here?
I think they could beat the Rockets. The Pacers are a team you don't like. They've been weird. Mm-hmm. So I think the Pacers could, get a win. They just had that overtime loss to the Wizards off Russell Westbrook's big block and 2 free throws. So they want to win back. They could get that from the Lakers. And then the Pelicans, I think they could easily beat the Pelicans. But if Zion drops 40, that's game. So 2 of those are toss-ups for me. What's up? Oh, well, Zion's out. I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about that. Oh, man. That just didn't... I just didn't really think about it for a moment. Well then, so they're going to win 2 of those games, and my issue isn't really the Lakers, it's more the Blazers. Because I think the Blazers aren't going to lose. That's what I'm going with, because it's Damian Lillard.
Right.
Number one, we were having this talk, I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, it was with friends of mine. It was, game on the line, who do you want to take shot? I said, Damian Lillard. Mm-hmm. Steph Curry may have some great moments, but Damian Lillard, I think, is... I read a stat, he is number one in points scored in the last, in a clutch game.
Okay.
He's number one with clutch shots in the last 5 years.
I would not second guess that at all.
Because he's an amazing player, and he always kicks it up. It's called Dame time for a reason. I mean, he is always on point when the game's on the line. So when he knows they got to keep out of this play-in tournament, Damian Lillard will turn it on. They're a good team there in Portland, and I think he'll keep them out of there. So I'm going to say yes. That's the fortune I'm saying. The Lakers will not evade. Well, I guess it'd be no, they won't evade.
Yeah, they won't evade.
They won't evade.
Yes.
No, they will not
Yes.
evade the play-in tournament.
Yeah, I'll be in agreement with Ryan here. They will be in the play-in tournament, and I agree that the Blazers have the cushion right now.
Yep.
And I still see the Blazers winning 2 out of their next 4. All right. So that brings them to 41 and 31. That means the Lakers would have to win their last 5 to get to the 6th seed, since the Blazers have the tiebreaker.
I don't think it's going to happen.
And it's not going to be happening. No LeBron, no AD. I think they're down in the
lot
dumps
of whining,
in LA.
a lot of whining.
A lot of complaining from LeBron about being in the play-in tournament. So,
Yeah.
but they could get beat out in the play-in tournament.
That would be glorious.
I am interested to see
That
what
would
happens.
be so great, Quinn. I would be so happy. I am so excited. I think once the records are set, I think I'll do a podcast that's my NBA playoff preview.
Yes, we need that.
I know.
The audience needs it.
I pretty much save anymore the singular podcast for when it's previews and wrap-ups of stuff that I want to talk about a lot. Mm-hmm. So whenever I want to have a soliloquy, that's when I get my own episode.
Yes.
This is just kind of the weekly news update.
He is the Hamlet of sports
I'm the
podcasts.
Hamlet. Yeah, that's quite the big. That's quite the big compliment.
Or not to be. That is the question.
That's high praise.
Anyway, yes. So I agree. Lakers are going to be in the play-in tournament when we see when the playoffs start in about 2 weeks. Hark! I hear the second caller coming. In the MLB, will Albert Pujols find another everyday job in the major leagues? Well, again, I'll set the scene. Pujols was just released by
Los Angeles
the
Angels.
Yes, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And he was in the tail end, the last season of his 10-year, $240 million contract he signed back in 2012 after he was released from the
St. Louis Cardinals.
Tony LaRocca. So there are some options that where he could possibly find an everyday job. Obviously, you throw out the White Sox out because Tony Lasorda, his manager at St. Louis, that he won the World Series with, he is now back in the game at in his mid-70s managing.
And we all know where I stand on the White Sox.
Yes, you do.
World
But
Series.
the problem is, Pujols would not really have a place to play every day because Abreu is in.
Yeah, last year's MVP.
Right, he is in at first base, so he would not be there. Now, another possible place would be going back to the Cardinals, but they have Goldschmidt there for full time. Now, a place where he could be right now is my Cincinnati Reds because Joey Votto broke his thumb, so he's out for a
I know,
month.
I'm upset.
So,
Especially after we just talked about how great he is.
You praised him.
I gave him the thank you 2 weeks ago.
Right.
He was the thank you.
And you got him the special section.
Yeah, I doubled him up.
Yeah,
I
you
gave him the
doubled
special
him up.
section and the thank you.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just don't see it happening where he's going to be an everyday player if he wants this to make his last year, but I can see him being somewhere where he's playing every couple days when Art needs some rest.
I think it's this. I think he's done playing baseball, and I think he's going to go to Chicago and become a hitting coach.
For the White Sox?
For the White Sox.
Okay.
We can go anywhere and be a hitting coach.
Well, yeah.
Because he was a great hitter for contact. He was one of the top 10 or top 5, at some points, first baseman in baseball.
Right.
A lot of times in his career, he's one of the best first basemen in baseball. He's got a lot to teach people, and I think he wants to. He's played for a while, so I think he obviously wants to stay around the game, stay around the league, and he can do that. And I think there's a really good chance he either finishes the season out with Seattle or just some random team,
Right.
and be on the team and maybe make the playoffs and lose in the divisional or wild card, and then he goes and coaches. And I think the White Sox are a really good place for him to coach because he can be with his old manager. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Right. Anything's possible. All right. One more caller. Will the MLB change something to the current pitching regulations? So, in regards to pitching regulations, right now the mound is 60 feet 6 inches.
Yep.
All right. Now, they've done this before where the mound was a foot higher and MLB took the mound a foot lower because pitching was dominating and batting average league-wide was at its lowest point. They lowered the mound and the batting average went up, I believe, 20 or 30 points, which was good. Again, it's back to those historic lows. So now there are talks of maybe moving the mound back a foot to 61 6 inches. So is that something that you see it needs to happen after having 4 no-hitters? 4 no-hitters, by the way. Wade Miley of my Reds.
Yep, that was good.
Your Cleveland Indians, so I'll get a brag about that one.
They're not really my Indians.
Well, they're somebody's Indians, but
a lot of people I know is Indians. Yes.
I don't even know your Padres, I guess now.
Well, Cubs have been my childhood favorite.
Okay,
because I went to Wrigley when I was in the 4th grade.
Right.
And that was the first major league game I ever went to, so I fell in love with the Cubbies.
Right.
So I think the Cubs are still probably my team, but the Padres are kind of... I just watch everything. I'm very loyal to the Cavs with basketball.
Right.
And I really like the Bucks and I like the Sixers, but I'm very loyal to the Cavs, and football, just straight up Panthers.
Right.
But baseball, it's I am Cubs and kind of Padres, but the reason it's Padres is really because Tatis.
Right, I know that.
So yeah, you're making me really think about this, but I do always keep an eye on the Indians because a lot of people I know really care about the Indians. Once again, shout out to AJ, and a lot of people I know also care about the Reds, so I keep an eye on about the Reds too.
Right.
They actually were supposed to play today.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was postponed because
Yes,
it's pouring
it was
rain.
postponed.
Yeah,
It was postponed earlier.
You can see it outside.
Yep, it's bad.
What I was gonna say though is I just watched a video this guy made. Foolish Baseball was the name. He made a really great video. You should check it out,
Okay.
Quinn. He makes some really great videos. He does a really cool thing.
I'll be on rain delay tomorrow, so maybe I'll listen to it.
Yeah. He does this really cool thing with his videos where everything's in 16-bit, like the little pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
He cuts into real MLB highlights along with 16-bit little pictures, like their video game. Yeah, it's just a really entertaining way to look at it. He does a lot with deep stats like OPS plus, lots of statistic looks, WARs, does all that. Baseball is the best sport to look at statistics by far because baseball is the easiest sport to look at the statistics and watch them correlate to real life. Usually, if a guy bats, 1 walk, 1 hit, 2 strikes, not 2 strikes, but you know what I mean, two outs, he almost always bats that. Baseball's pretty consistent. So what I was saying, though, is he made a video called How I Would Fix Baseball. And his point was he becomes the emperor of baseball, and he gets to do whatever he wants. And there's a lot of cool things in there, like implementing a salary cap floor and paying the minor leaguers full time and all this stuff with the financials that he's trying to work out. But one of the things he talks about is moving the plate back. And he goes, well, yes, it makes it harder for the pitchers. It also gives them a slight benefit because a slider becomes 10 times nastier when it's coming farther away. The slider can slide even more, or a curveball can curve even more. A sinker can sink even more when you have more distance on it. Now your fastballs aren't going to be as fast, and your change-ups aren't going to have as much change. But your more breaking balls, they're going to be different. Maybe we'll see more of a return to more screwballs and knuckleballs. We don't see those anymore.
Right.
So
Fork balls.
Yeah, you don't see any of those either.
Yeah.
So
a slurve. Does anybody know what a slurve is out there? But yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But I'm saying we don't see much of those anymore. And he's there's a lot more guys like Zach Greinke would benefit to a point.
Yes.
And your Garrett Coles wouldn't. Garrett Cole throws a lot of fastballs and changeups.
Right.
Jacob deGrom is just the best pitcher by far, so I'm not even going to try to say he's not going to do well. He'll figure it out. He's freaking great.
I know he's good.
He's great.
Who's your favorite? Is he your favorite for Cy Young?
Favorite for Cy Young? Oh, yeah. He's going to win it. It'll be him. I said it was going to be him and Giolito. Giolito's the pitcher for the White Sox.
Yeah.
But Bieber might go back-to-back because Bieber's great, too.
Yeah.
I think Bieber's third best pitcher in baseball. He's great.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Reds already faced him once, and he shut us out.
Yeah, he's freaking amazing. I never thought in my life I would be dying to see Bieber, but I am. Get the joke.
Never say never.
Yeah, never. Nice. Nice. That's good. What I was going to say, though, is I think that's a really good idea, moving the plate back, and if it goes badly, you just don't change it back.
Right.
One thing I thought of, though, well, I didn't think of this. I heard about it. John Boy Media, Talking Baseball is their main podcast.
John Boy from the Waltons?
No, we already talked about this.
No,
we talked about this last time. You
I'll
always
do it
say
again.
that.
I'll do it again. Yeah.
That's the running gag now.
Yes, it is.
John Boy Media was talking about this on their Talking Baseball podcast, which is the main one that they do. It's actually pretty sure the most listened, most downloaded baseball podcast right now.
Okay.
Is Talking Baseball, and they're also the third most downloaded baseball podcast in Talking Yanks.
Oh.
Yeah, so they've got 2 out of the 3. The second one is ESPN's.
Okay.
So yeah, they're a pretty big deal.
Okay.
So John Boy, and then they were talking about walks, and I think it was Jake is one of the guys in John Boy Media, and he was basically saying that he was watching the Cardinals versus the Nats, and Juan Soto comes up, and Jack Flaherty's pitching. And he's like, okay, arguably the best hitter in baseball right now, because it's him or Trout. Him and Trout, both amazing hitters, hit it for average. They just hit really well.
Right.
Soto, and then Jack Flaherty, one of the most dangerous pitchers in baseball.
Yeah.
So he comes up, and I think the count ends up going 2-1. He tries to get Soto to bite. He doesn't. 3-1. So he just throws an easy ball, walks him. And he's like, there was already 2 outs. So he's like, yeah, whatever. I'll just walk him. And he's like, you hate to see that, because if I'm a kid and I'm watching baseball and I know who Juan Soto is because he's a big old deal, and I like Juan Soto,
Especially
2 outs. This is
in that DC metro area.
Yep, he's great. And one of my favorite players. Very charismatic, fun guy. And he probably is my 3rd favorite player in baseball. 3rd or 4th. He's up there. Really like, he might be going down anymore. I do like a lot of baseball players, but he's up there. I mean, I got to think about it. I'm like, well, crap. I did just talk about DeGrom a lot. Soto, you want that big moment where Soto gets struck out by Flaherty. Whoa. Or Soto, hits the ball, but it doesn't clear the fence. He's out. And, you want that moment, but it's just a walk. And so his pitch was, What do you think about making it so if you get walked, you go to second base?
Right.
To discourage walks. And I actually think it's a great idea. But like most things in baseball, they probably won't do it because people will flip out about it.
Right.
So I'm glad they're putting in the universal tiebreaker. The international tiebreaker is what it's called. Where you put the guy on second once you get into extra innings. I like that. But that's really just my biggest issue is I think there's a real thing where you can just walk them. The number of balls in play, this was the stat that the guy brought up on the Foolish Baseball video. He brought up the number of balls in play in baseball. And he's like, one thing I've noticed over the years, this is me talking, not his video, is that baseball, some people that don't, when they start getting into baseball, they're like, I don't like it as much as I like basketball and football because it's kind of boring. I think what that comes from is baseball, you can't get a score when you're on defense. Football, you can get an interception.
Exactly.
There's always that element of, if they just get that steal in basketball, or football, if they get that interception, or they get a fumble. Baseball, you can't.
Right. It's more action-packed. Should I say it that way?
Yeah.
I disagree with that term because there's plenty of action on defense.
I think the way baseball is all about build. It's like you build to this big crescendo of moments instead of having a bunch of little moments. Football and basketball are a lot of little moments. And every once in a while, you get a crescendo. But baseball's very crescendo, because it takes so long, you build to a moment. So hitting a lot of points here, but I'm going to go back to the main thing, is that the number of balls in play in baseball has gone drastically down. the number of balls that are ground outs.
Right.
And so a lot of hits anymore.
Everybody's trying to hit home runs
Yes,
at the same
because
time.
almost
Yeah.
everything anymore is a home run, a strikeout, a walk, or a pop out. There's not a lot of just, infield singles. There's not a lot of just, nice line drive doubles. It's a lot of home runs or pop outs, which is not entertaining. Home runs are the one entertaining. Home runs, strikeouts are entertaining. Walks aren't, and pop outs aren't. But the majority of those are going to be walks, pop outs. Mm-hmm. So, and a casual fan vastly prefers a home run over a strikeout because the more baseball you watch, the more and more you grow to enjoy pitching.
Right.
So I'm saying I think you just need to get away so people aren't just cracking air shots all the time.
Right.
Because we're in a real movement away from hitting line drives, and there needs to be a change to that, along with a discouraging of walking. So those are my two biggest things.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big concerns, and I know all of the older baseball fans, they definitely look down, talking about millennials and Gen Z, about how they have no attention span to sit through a 3-hour baseball game like everybody used to be. But I agree, there has been statistically less action, and everybody talks about launch angle and all this and blah, 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 and that's really not the issue. I think the issue is at the pitching mound. They're going to figure something out, try to get more balls back in play, and then hopefully that gives another 10 years before having to do another adjustment to that.
Well, and humans, we've seen over time, naturally get taller, naturally get stronger. The fastest pitchers used to be in the 90s. Now the fastest pitcher is 110.
Yeah.
I think Aroldis Chapman's fastest is like 112. I think he clocked one time. I think he clocked one at like 110 one time.
All right, we're going to look that up while Ryan's
You look that up, but I'm saying eventually you're going to have pitchers who clock higher than that. Like, it's just naturally going to get higher and higher. So if you move it back, you don't get that. And so I think there's a really good idea there. Another thing I just want to throw in, I thought about making this my special section, but I just want to toss it.
And it is 105.1 miles per hour.
He never cracked 110?
Yes.
I thought he cracked 110.
He never did.
Wow. Okay. Well, still, somebody would do it eventually at this rate.
Yes, and Nolan Ryan's was only 100.9 miles. His fastest. But anyway.
One quick thing. I thought about making this my special section, but I decided not to. Shohei Ohtani currently leads the MLB in home runs with 10. Mm-hmm. I bet it's been a really long time since anyone has
He's going to try, and if we would have played What's the Word this week, which we didn't, but I will play it real quick. It is Ruthian, because Babe Ruth was a pitcher, and he led the league in home runs.
And I'm saying Shohei would be the first one since Babe Ruth to lead the MLB in home runs. And that's crazy.
Right, and I think...
And the Reds have one of those of their own that they got to start getting him trained up. Hunter Green. Took him with the second pick, I think, in 2017 MLB draft.
Well, I don't know.
He is a pitcher. He's a pitcher that batted 400 in high school.
I think the Reds have improved from last year a little bit, so I've been happy with Heath Bell to start out the season. 500 now.
Yep, I'm saying they have Hunter Green. He's in the bullpen. He's training with the majors.
Okay.
This
we
kid,
get all our
he was
pieces back on the field currently, and then add some new ones.
He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
He'll get a call up hopefully in September.
Yes, he's on the 40 man. He's on the 40 man, but he doesn't really play. So he's been training with the majors.
Okay.
So he was taken with the second pick, I want to say, the 2017 MLB draft. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, I think, May 2017.
Okay.
He batted .450 in high school, pitched, and played first base.
Sounds good.
So he's been pitching for the Reds, and he can hit. So I'm saying him and Shohei can be the big two.
Yeah.
Because it's really fun when you got
in each league.
It's really fun.
So.
It's really fun when you have a pitcher who hits.
It is. I agree.
And this also gives more credence to the idea that we actually need the DH, because you might say the opposite. Well, we don't need the DH. But I'm going to say you need the universal DH because, when Shohei's not pitching, because the pitchers aren't allowed to pitch, you know what I mean? They have to have days in between. When Shohei's not pitching, he can't hit. So I'm saying when you're Hunter Green...
Well, he could play a different position.
You're not going to have guys switching positions all the time. We know that's not how MLB works.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying.
No, you're right. He could play first.
But you can still have him pinch hit.
Every
game. You got to pinch him every game.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But I'm saying I think universal DH should be the move. If you're going to have one league do it, you might as well have both do it. I liked it last year. The Reds benefited from it last year.
Wrong. You're so wrong. I don't care if they benefited or not. That's not how baseball is God intended. It was intended to not have a DH, so...
Well, it started, and you can't stop it. I like the DH, all right?
I did stop it. It stopped for the NL this year, so that's good.
All right. We'll see.
But
You get them at the expanded playoff format. Should have stayed though.
I am for the extended playoffs. I am.
Exactly.
I do like the doubleheader 7 innings. I do like those.
Me too.
And I also
Mad Bum threw a no-hitter. I
like,
noticed you said that. You said there's been 4 no-hitters. There's technically only 3, but you counted Mad Bums.
correct, because
so
they counted it. Statistically, the MLB is not trying to count a no-hitter for Madison Bumgarner, but they count it as a complete game statistically, but not a no-hitter.
That's
which
correct.
is ridiculous. But anyway.
He threw a no-hitter.
Anyway, yes, expanded playoffs. I like what they do in the 10th inning, too, also in regular season with the extra runner on. I like those
Good changes.
adjustments. Good changes there. Now just change the pitching, man.
I think, and make the playoffs expanded again. That was fun.
Yep.
I think that probably got a lot of eyes on their product, too, having more games. Because more games, more fans, more people. Every sport is trying to expand their playoffs. And then the MLB did it, and then they're like, well, never mind. Like, every sport wants to do that. They got away with it. People liked it.
Right.
And then took it away.
Right.
Like, the NFL's been trying to push for a bigger playoff. They finally went for it last year.
Yeah.
And they're keeping it. Like, every pro sport's trying to do more playoff games. Why has the MLB not?
I don't know.
I don't understand.
But
That was a big tangent about the MLB because we had a lot to say.
yes. Now it's on for Ryan's special section for this episode. Ryan, go ahead.
Well, like I said, I thought about making that Shohei Ohtani thing. I also thought about talking about a number of different things, but I said to Quinn about an hour ago before the show, I said, you ready for something weird? And he was like, how weird? And I was like, we're going to do it. So, right here on Baseball Reference, I'm going to read you off some quick career statistics. We have a player that had a career, played 19 years, his 162 game average was 37 home runs, 130 RBIs, only 2 stolen bases. He only had 50 strikeouts and 162 game average. He had 50 strikeouts, so that's pretty good. 344 batting average, an OBP of 482, which is an all-time career record. Slugging is a 634. His OPS was a 1.116. His OPS plus is a 191. Remember, that's one of my favorite stats. League average is 100. He is almost 200, double as good as league average. His name is Ted Williams. 2 times MVP, 2-time Triple Crown, 6-time batting title, 19-time All-Star. Every single year he played, he made the All-Star game. 5-time Major League Player of the Year. What are you pointing at, Quinn? Oh, I guess 1952.
But he was in Korea.
Yes, that's what it was. I was about to say, I was like, well, they're not counting that year. We're not counting the career year. So, and he's regarded as the greatest Boston Red Sox ever. One of the greatest baseball players of all time. Probably for hitting for average, it's potentially him. Great contact hitter. Lost 3 years not playing in World War II, fighting in World War II, serving in World War II. So, Ted Williams, great player. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are we talking about this? Because if you look at his, oddly enough, left-handed, just like Babe Ruth. If you look at his...
No, he's right-handed. He throws right, bats left.
Yes, that's what I meant to say, batting left-handed. That's what I meant to say. Good catch.
Yeah.
This is where it's going to get weird. He's buried... and it says frozen. That's his status. So
where is he?
I was curious. I was curious. And so I went to figure out, because everybody's heard the story about Walt Disney and how he's frozen. And so I was curious and I looked into this. So there's this Scottsdale cryogenic facility, and it's this is an article from June 11th, 2019. I don't think too much has changed since then.
Written by the Arizona Central, by the way.
And it's in Arizona. And basically, they have over, I want to say, 168 patients and 90 pets. 1 turtle and 1 chinchilla, may I remind you. So I don't know why somebody really wanted that chinchilla frozen, but they did. It was a really nice I don't know if the person's frozen. I feel like that would make sense if the person froze them chinchilla and they froze themselves. But I don't know why you'd just be like, this chinchilla needs to live on, guys.
Right.
So they haven't figured out how. They said it's an experimental process. This is all non-insured, obviously, by the government. You're just paying them, trusting that they will hold onto your body until they can officially let you come back to life. Arthur Kaplan, a professor of bioethics at New York University, said, and I quote, "It is just not doable." So, the thing is, they're the place that has Ted Williams' frozen head, and they tried to keep it quiet. If you choose the whole body, it's only $200,000, whereas the head is $80,000. So you get quite the bargain there, guys.
Right.
Just
Less
a little
than half.
less than half. I mean, you can just get the head, get a whole new body when you wake up.
60% off if you just cut off everything.
Yeah.
Put everything else in the casket and you keep your head out.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying, it's just Ted Williams, one of the greatest baseball players of all time, could potentially wake up in 2020. 2,258.
Yeah.
And be like, hey guys.
On a monkey body, possibly.
On a monkey body. Well, no, he froze the whole body. I don't know why. How old was he when he died?
83.
83. So I don't know why he wants to be in his 83-year-old body, because I'm guessing he wants to keep playing baseball, and he's thinking they can de-age him, like the CGI de-aging software works in real life now.
Yeah.
So he'll just be de-aged through. I don't know. I don't know what Ted Williams wants.
Forever.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, can you imagine if we woke up tomorrow morning and Ted Williams was been unfrozen and he's kicking, he's alive and kicking, and they throw him a big old parade in Boston, and everyone is very confused because the year is 2,258 and baseball's been dead for centuries. So that would be really weird. But I'm just saying,
baseball's not dying.
No, it's not. But in 2,258, we don't even know.
Yeah, we don't know.
And so. I don't know what Ted Williams was thinking, or the 168 people, or that one chinchilla and one turtle. But I mean, if that's what you're doing with your life, I guess it's your choice. But quite an odd thing. I mean, Walt Disney and Ted Williams are the two most famous people. There's no confirmation that Walt Disney is officially frozen, but we have official confirmation that Ted Williams is frozen in the Scottsdale cryogenic facility, and it was just so weird to me. It hit me when I looked at his baseball reference and it says frozen, and I was like, what? So I looked into it, and just one of the greatest baseball players of all time potentially could be popping back into life. But if you listen to that bioethics expert, it is just not doable. I hope it's not, because that's freaking weird. That's really weird.
Right. This is a 2.5-minute episode here, too, because Evelyn Harper talks about this same scenario where she says, I'm going to have my head frozen so I can be put on a monkey body for the future when scientists get that.
Yeah.
But I agree. I don't think it's doable either. But Ted Williams.
Plus, your brain's going to go into such shock. It'll be so
it's
much.
It's
going to mess with you mentally.
Yeah.
You don't even know.
Right.
Like gravity, I think, changes over time. They've said the pull of gravity has slightly changed over time. I don't know. I'm not a science expert by far.
It is a constant negative 9.8 meters
constant?
per second.
We don't know if we're going to mess it up, though.
Yeah. It's constant.
It hasn't changed in thousands of years? It hasn't changed 1,000 years?
Look it up right now.
Really? Well, no, I believe you.
Okay.
I'm just saying, is
Learn
there a
that in
chance?
physics.
We launch a lot of space shuttles. What if we mess something up? I mean, he could wake up and...
Nope, that's why it's
we're
constant.
on Mars.
That's why it's constant.
You think it's constant?
It is constant. It's never going to change.
Oh, well, then I don't know how science works. So I'm not arguing with you.
But I will talk about Ted Williams. My statistics professor at Ohio State Marion, he talked about this a lot. The first couple of classes, we just did activities with numbers. First one was the biggest cities, biggest states by population, biggest countries, biggest continents, blah, blah, blah. So then he moved on and did baseball, and he put numbers on the board and all that, and he said, this is the controversy about who's the best baseball player ever, because Ted Williams lost 3 of his prime years in serving in World War II. And then he lost practically another 2 seasons to Korea as well. So I think that's what's interesting. You're never going to know the full numbers from him compared to Babe Ruth, or
we can pull up Babe Ruth
Henry
right
Aaron,
now.
Even though Barry Bonds cheated, still Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds, still one of the best. Mike Trout. I
can't compare that until it's over.
It ain't over till it's over. That's true.
Yeah.
I love, quick thing. We just need to appreciate everybody who works at Baseball Reference, Basketball Reference, Football Reference, just the Sports Reference website. They do a great job with the way they let you compare things.
They
Best we've managed. I don't know how the internet's managed the best sports referencing websites, but they've managed it. Right here, we can look at them comparatively. Babe Ruth, 714 home runs, and Ted Williams had 521. But keep in mind, Babe Ruth got to play for 21 years. Ted Williams got to play for 19, like we said.
Right. Babe Ruth has 600 more at-bats.
Yep.
Actually, 693 to be exact.
Yeah.
So,
which is more important than the game totals, because the game's only about 200 more, so just like a season and a half.
Right.
But those at-bats are more important.
Right.
So he's got... Yeah, that's a lot more at-bats.
Which actually should be, that should be a change. It should be more on plate appearances because those don't include walks.
Yeah, that's true.
Pitch.
That's true. So plate apperances, Babe Ruth
yeah.
has almost 1,000 more. He's at 10,626. Ted Williams at 9,792.
Yep, 834.
What's up?
834.
Oh, 800. Oh, good math.
Yeah.
And then Babe Ruth's OPS plus is 206, which is 15 points higher than Ted Williams. His intentional bases on balls is 34, whereas Ted Williams was 258. So that's interesting. Slugging, Babe Ruth, even though he's considered the greatest power hitter ever, is only not even 60. It's 56 higher. It's 690 to Ted Williams 634. His on base is lower by .008. 474. Ted Williams is 482. Their batting average, Ted Williams is only 2 better. Strikeouts, this is the big one.
Yes, it is.
Ted Williams has 709 strikeouts. Babe Ruth has 1,330. Now, you could be saying, well, he also has almost 1,000 more plate appearances. Well, that's still an incredible amount of strikeouts per. Yeah. Because I mean, we could, if Quinn wants to type this up really quick while I'm talking, he can. 709. If you played, 9,792 plate appearances with 709 strikeouts. Okay. Can you do you want to do the averages real quick?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna be able to do that in mental math. But
this chart started out about pointing out how weird the frozen cryogenic stuff is, and now it's becoming Babe Ruth versus Ted Williams, and I'm here for it. I think this is interesting.
Okay, so only 7% of the time was Ted Williams striking out.
All right.
When he appeared at the plate. Now, Babe Ruth
is going to be...
He is 12.5%.
Yep.
So, yes.
So it is still higher.
So an eighth of the time, Babe Ruth struck out.
Yep. And doubles, Ted Williams has more. Hits in general, Babe Ruth only has 200 more, which is very interesting because he has almost 1,000 more at-bats.
Right.
So this is really incredibly interesting, especially because it's Red Sox-Yankees, so it makes it even more fun.
Yeah, and the disastrous trade, sending Babe Ruth across
the
rivalry.
And here's the real thing. If Babe Ruth stays with the Red Sox, the entirety of baseball history has changed, and the two greatest players of all time, arguably, are on the same team. Because there's a real argument...
What? You can't.
What? Well, not at the same time, but I'm saying franchise history.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, your top 5 greatest baseball players of all time are usually talked about as Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, and then some people don't put Bonds because they don't like Bonds.
Well, Gehrig.
And then they put Gehrig instead.
Okay.
Yep. Gehrig, and DiMaggio's not as high as Mantle. Mantle's usually higher than DiMaggio. Because I looked at Mantle versus DiMaggio the other day. His isn't as high. His numbers aren't really that eye-popping as compared to like a Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle's actually really great. But what I was saying, though, is instead of Bonds, it's sometimes Gehrig and Mantle, and then Mike Trout starting to get in that conversation too. And so, yeah, if you're more interested, just go to Baseball Reference, compare the two. It's quite interesting. So, yeah. Did you have any other stat you want to look at?
What's more important is Babe Ruth in his career stole 123 bases. You're telling me that man stole 123 bases? They had to be from stealing second because he wasn't stealing third.
Yeah. And you also know the famous thing with Babe Ruth is when he walked around, when he hit a home run, they said he took, what was the word? I think they didn't call it baby steps. They called it baby shuffles. He would borderline walk around the bases when he did his jog. He took the smallest little steps when he hit a home run. He savored the moment. Oh, man.
This is a plug to watch Sandlot if you haven't seen Sandlot either, because Babe Ruth is...
Yep.
His ghost appears, I should say
it
that way.
That's just everybody who likes baseball's got to watch that movie.
Right.
We're just recommending all the baseball movies. We got 42. We got this
Yes.
one.
It's the time. It's the time of this year. So,
Yeah.
all right. It's time for happy time, people. Happy 90th birthday this past Thursday, Willie Mays. Speaking of him, nicknamed the Say Hey Kid, he played for the New York Giants starting in the 1950s and then followed them to San Francisco to play the rest of his career there, except for the last season where he was at the New York Mets. He's known for his quick throwback after catching a pop fly, as many remember him at Polo Grounds in New York City. He hit 660 career home runs, won 12 Golden Glove Awards, a record for outfielders, two-time National League MVP in 1954 and 1965, and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Barack Obama in 2015. Ryan?
ESPN just did a really big article on him. They said, I think the cover tagline for it said he's Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, and Simone Biles all in one. Where he was so iconic at this time, especially back when the Yankees. This was really when the Yankees were kicking it.
Right.
I mean, the Yankees were really successful in the early 1900s, but the mid 1900s when it really gets going, 50s, 60s, 70s. That's when they really were clicking.
Yeah.
And being in New York and not being for the Yankees, being for the Giants. So, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Some people do think he is the greatest. Arguably the best defensively. An amazing center fielder. Also really cool. I mean, this is 50s, 60s, an African-American baseball player doing this well. It's
right. And he started out in the Negro Leagues in the late 40s, playing for the Birmingham Barons before he was drafted into the MLB 1951.
Quite a steal because he's an amazing player, a super iconic guy, and I can't lie to you. Every time I think about it, I just think about Wesley Snipes and Major League, Willie Mays Hayes, because he always wants to be like his Willie Mays.
Yeah.
And you gotta love Wesley Snipes in Major League. He's great in that movie. You've seen Major League, right?
Yes, but I
Okay.
need to watch it again because
You'll have to rewatch
I
it.
probably just put it on because they used to replay him on USA.
Yep.
Or TBS on TV all the time. So I just turned it on one night. I don't know if I watched Major League or Major League 2, but I watched one of them. So I need to probably watch those. Haven't seen Field of Dreams either, so.
I actually haven't really ever watched Field of Dreams all the way through.
Yeah, so there we go. We got some lists.
I'm not super sappy though. Like I'm saying, I know.
I like a good. My palate is wide ranging when it comes to movies. So
I think I've got pretty. I don't think I'm as wide range as you. I think I'm decent ranged. Decent. Not as wide as your range.
Right.
But I do love Bull Durham with Kevin Costner.
Right.
I prefer that baseball movie of Costner.
I'll have to.
We're just
Trouble with
recommending
the
all
Curb.
the baseball movies.
Trouble with the Curb. Watch that with Clint Eastwood. I love that one too. Anyway, happy anniversary from this past Thursday in 1998. Kerry Wood, who would later be known as the National League Rookie of the Year, threw 20 strikeouts for the Chicago Cubs, where he played his whole career, in a complete game shutout against the Houston Astros. And he tied Roger Clemens' record for strikeouts in a 9-inning game. And hopefully there's a souped-up version of all 20 strikeouts on YouTube. If it's possible, Ryan might get the link to it, comment on there, or magically get it on there.
Oh, we want me to put the highlight. Like, we want me to copy the video and put it on our video, or
If
just
it's
want to
possible.
It's possible.
If we get flagged, let's just put the link in.
All right, and so if we have it, we're going to put it here.
Got him with the heat. As the day continues and he changes speeds, the gunslinger ready, the 2-2. Strike, 3 call. 1-2 from Kerry Wood. Got him swinging. 3-2. Got him swinging. Got him with it again. Strike 3 called. The 0-2. Strike 3 called. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Strike 3 called. He has struck out the last 4 men he's faced. Make it 5 in a row. See you later. Got him. He went around. Did he go? Yes, he did. Got him. The 0-2. Got him. What can you say? Got him. Here comes the hook. Got him. 20 strikeouts.
And if we don't have it, then that's just going to stay there, and it's just going to be this empty space for a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. And finally, happy trails to 2 people today. First is Zion Williamson, playing the rest of the NBA season. The New Orleans Pelican broke his left ring finger, which is his shooting hand, at this past Tuesday's game against the Philadelphia 76ers, going up for a rebound, where it was a 5-point game, trying to keep his Pelicans in the game. He'll be sidelined until next season. And also happy trails to Breanna Stewart. Being unengaged, Breanna Stewart, the former star for the UConn Huskies under Gino Auriemma, and she's a current player for the Seattle Storm, proposed to her girlfriend, Marta Shargai, this past week. Shargai played in the World Championships and the Olympics for Spain in 2015 and 16. So congratulations to those 2. Looking forward to the wedding this summer or whenever it's going to happen there for Breanna Marta.
First off, congratulations to Breanna Stewart. Granted, though, I'm more of a Becker backer when it comes to the UConn players.
Right.
I'm a big Becker backer.
This doesn't have to deal with basketball, though. This is about
I know, but congratulations to her. I was just kidding.
Yes.
But congratulations to her. But really the bigger thing here with me, obviously, is going to be Zion. Yep. And I just want to take this moment to pay respect to the fact that Zion Williamson had an incredible season. I think we're going to have to go to Basketball Reference really quick because I don't want to mess up his numbers because his stats were off the charts this year. He just got his new shoe. It's just released. Well, I mean, that's a big deal when you're...
I hear it.
I mean, that's a big deal. He is currently 20 years old, and he's got his own shoe. He's a year older.
Yeah, we're about the same age.
Yeah, you and him are about the same age, and he's got his own shoe for $100. That's crazy, with his name on it. So this season, he was averaging 27.
You gonna get a pair?
What?
Are you gonna get a pair?
I don't think they don't have any colors I really like for him yet.
Okay.
I usually only buy one expensive shoe for basketball. So, and I don't know if it'll be him. Usually I go with Giannis shoes. Or I used to go with Kyrie's, now I go with Giannis shoes. Because I really like the way the Giannis shoes fit me. They're meant for people with larger feet because he's huge.
Right,
so.
right.
All right, so Zion was putting up 27 points. His turnovers per game was down to 3, which last year was also 3, so that's good. Really shockingly, though, he only had 0.6 blocks per game. Steals was just 1 if you round up from 0.9. But that's really not what's important. It's really his field goal percentage was a 611. His three-point percentage did go down drastically, though. He was only shooting .294. But he only attempted... 3 points attempted. He only attempted 1 every other game. So I don't know why he isn't shooting as many threes as he was. He's really been working a lot more inside. Played 61 games this year, so he got to play almost all their games. And yeah, so I was saying he was having a really good season, showing that he is that star that we all thought he was. And rebounds per game, he was at 7. That's nice. Assists was low at 4. They were starting to run him more as a point forward, which I really liked, putting the ball in his hands. I thought that really made him excel, be at his explosiveness. But none of that really mattered because everyone in the NBA marketing division has just switched over to LaMelo Ball. Like, it's that simple. Like, it doesn't matter how many points Zion averages.
Everybody catches fire.
Everybody has shifted.
There's always got to be a new...
There's a new commodity.
Yes.
And I think LaMelo is also one of those commodities that they're going to stick with him until he proves he's not as marketable as they think he is, and he is. He is exceptionally marketable because he's on a team with that. His team's already more relevant than the Pelicans. They've got great jerseys, which I know you might think sounds goofy, but it legit feeds in.
I do like
selling merch.
I do like that color.
Oh, they used to have some of the worst jerseys, and now they have some of the best. Those jerseys are sweet with the white pinstripes.
Right.
Great. He's got Miles Bridges. They're an exciting duo.
Yes, former Spartan.
They're building a really good team. They're going to be championship level, hopefully, within the next couple of years. Like, they're building a good young team.
Yep. They're definitely in the play-in.
They're going to make the play-in. I don't know if they'll win there.
Out because they, well, they're going to have to play the Wizards because it's 8-9, right?
I think they could beat the Wizards. I think they could beat the Wizards.
It'll be interesting.
I think they could beat them. That would be a great series. That'll be a great series.
They'll win that game if Bradley Beal scores more than 40 points because when Bradley Beal scores more than 40 points, the Wizards are 7-22.
Huh.
Interesting statistic.
That's weird and wow, that's actually really interesting. What I was saying though is they've completely switched all their marketing over to LaMelo, and I think they're going to keep doing LaMelo. I think they are going to market Cade a lot next year, Cade Cunningham. But I think LaMelo is now the NBA's new poster boy.
Yeah.
It seems to be.
They
thought it was going to be Zion. They're really pushing Zion, but Zion's having injury problems, and he's in New Orleans, and New Orleans Pelicans, that franchise is not building their team as well as the Hornets are. The Hornets are proving to be a big draw, so I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Hornets were top 5 on the most nationally televised games next year, because LaMelo is increasingly becoming an exceptionally hot commodity. And his Puma shoes will probably sell insanely well because they're apparently going to come out within the next year.
Right.
So time for my thank you.
Give it to him.
Think we'll be doing a special section on him soon, but I just want to give I've got a couple special sections prepared thinking about because it's just kind of ideas, and then eventually when I sit down, I'm like, I think this one I'm going to go with. I was in between 2 players for how they've been performing. It was between Mike Trout and Nikola Jokic. Jokic, quick thing, officially decided he's the MVP. Embiid's missed too many games. Jokic has lost Murray. He's got all the good things. He's got a narrative about why he should be MVP. He's on a team with the top 3 best record. And he has amazing stats. Those are the 3 things you need. Jokic is my MVP. But the real thank you is to Mike Trout, because next week we're going to be doing a special section about how crazy his April season was. What his stats were just in April. So that's a sneak peek for next week for my... I always surprise with the special section, but this time I got to give a preview because Mike Trout is my thank you. Thank you, Mike Trout, for being undoubtedly the best player in baseball. You're really great.
All right. This is the latest episode of the Sort of Sports Big Salad podcast. Thank you for listening. Real quick, shout out. Smokey and the Bandit, just watched it on TV last night. Again, one of my favorites. Be sure to watch that if you have not done that. Thank you, and good night. This is Quinn Maseko speaking for the Big Salad podcast, a Ryan Klinger production. Please note that portions of this podcast were edited before the final cut was produced, and this recording was made on Sunday. The sections of Fortune Teller and Happy Time are copied from the ESPN show Pardon the Interruption, and there was no intention to infringe on that copyright of those segments and their related music, along with any copyright regarding Kerry Wood's clip of his strikeouts in 1998. Stay tuned for our next podcast next Monday here on the Sort of Sports Podcast YouTube channel.